Well, it is Sunday, December 7th, and I'm getting ready to take a ride up towards that Toad Lake trailhead. It's about 11 o'clock. I'm realizing I made a bad adjustment on this. I adjusted the shift lever up a little bit so I could get my the toe of these adventure riding boots underneath it a little easier, and it's getting interfered with by the side case of the motorcycle. So I'm going to stop in a parking lot up here in a minute. The gear shift lever on the klx230s does not have a folding tip on it. And for that reason, I ordered another shift lever that will have a folding tip, which I have no idea when I'll get it, but eventually. This little parking lot over here on my left is where I'm going to stop. These little things you have to kind of discover. Hopefully I got this in the camera. But I put a TPMS on this, and it shows 22 front, 29 rear, which is exactly factory recommendation. So far, it's shifting better. Oh boy, now I got my side mirror loose. And honestly, I think I need to move the gear shift lever down a little bit anyway, so I guess I'm not done. One more stop. Reverse threaded on the side. Let's hope that stays in place. Okay, just a little bit lower. Testing. That one's going. Wow, both cameras are going. Maybe I've got the lever in the right place. Mirror is tightened up. Hopefully it'll stay. So I've wasted about 10 minutes so far. I wouldn't say wasted. I mean, it's all kind of necessary. Again, they say for the first 250 miles, I really shouldn't go over 37 miles an hour in 6th gear. It says I'm doing 40, 41, but if I did a GPS check on that, it really would be closer to 37, 38, but I don't know. All I know is I'm riding it fairly easy. I'm not worried about the break-in. And again, for roads like this, where you're going to go 45, maybe even 50 or whatever, this thing has perfect power. What's going to hurt it is if I get out on Highway 89 or the interstate and try doing 65. It will struggle to do that. But I've said this before, I don't really like riding on those highways anyway, and I have no doubt I'll do a little bit of it, but I'll minimize it. All right, just about to get off the pavement. Well, I'm sure liking these new handlebars better. It just makes standing up a world easier. It needed to be a little bit higher. This little bit of pavement lasts for maybe a couple miles, I don't know. Then it turns into pure dirt. And the pavement starts cracking up, and they haven't repaved or maintained this in many, many years. That is a nice looking motorcycle. Good thing since I bought it. Well, another thing that might stop me from Toad Lake could be deadfall across the road. When I get up to the Toad Lake trailhead, be optimistic, I'll make it. But at any rate, when I turn around, I think I'll stop, walk around the bike, and talk about the modifications I've made then. Not a huge amount, but the normal things that I think are important. Now, the expensive stuff would be if you decided you needed to take your forks and shock in to get them tuned professionally, which even these, although they have no adjustment, you could do that. They could take them apart and kind of revalve and respring them if you wanted to, but I don't think I'm going to want to. That would be expensive. A lot of people complain about the seat, and they put on a seat concept seat. And I've had seat concepts before. They're really, really nice, but what I'm seeing about this with the rides I'm making so far, you know, 1 hour ride's about all I've done, and today's going to be over 2, but as long as I'm on roads like this where I can stand up some of the time, I don't get a sore butt sitting on this seat. It seems fine. I don't know how long I could just sit on it. and cruise along, but that's not the point of this motorcycle. The point of this motorcycle is to explore back roads. You're going to be moving around, standing up, and when you do that, a little bit of a firm seat is really not that big a deal. Something I find myself doing when I go up things like this, and just with more riding, I stop. But I find myself leaning back just a little bit and putting pressure on my hands and arms where I don't need to. If I just find that balance point, then your hands are relaxed and your arms are relaxed. You don't get arm pumped, don't get tired, which I am now doing. I just realized for a moment there I had my weight positioned incorrectly. And I'm standing fairly upright. People tell you, well, if you're really doing hardcore stuff, you need to, crouch a little bit more, but still keep your chest over the handlebars and kind of weight forward. And yeah, that's all right, but I'm not riding aggressively, so I'm just trying to be comfortable as I come up this. That ride it like you stole it from day one, though, I think is a mistake. You got to get a few heat cycles in it before you really do anything to crank it up, and I generally don't do that anyway. I try to break them in fairly close to what they want you to do. And so far, I'd have to say I'm enjoying riding this up on this road every bit as much as I did on the klx230s. Whole issue is just how hard do you want to ride the bike. If you really want to go fast through rough stuff, that klx230 was really pretty darn good, but I don't want to do that. And for what I'm doing right now, the suspension really, really feels good. I don't think I'd want to change anything on it. And something I'm seeing on this bike, if I was to lower it, that side stand would be way too long. I'd have to be looking into another side stand, which is a good reason not to do it. So I have a tank bag that I used on the klx230 that I could put on this, but my memory on the 300 was that it interfered a little bit when you're really trying to get your weight forward on these bikes, and for that reason I'm probably not going to put it on this bike. You could always use a little more storage, but I got a backpack on, and I could carry a little more weight in there if I wanted to. Currently I've got all the tools I need to fix a flat on either end, but I'm only carrying one tube, the front tube. And I know from experience, if you have to, you can stuff one of those in an 18-inch wheel, but you better not go very far or fast before you put a real 18-inch tube in, or you will pop it. I don't want to go up there. I want to stay this way. Haven't decided if I want to mount the Zumo to the handlebars on this bike. I kind of like the Zumo. I mean, you get a lot of information, see your elevation and all that stuff, and nice big letters, easy to read, but it also kind of junks up your handlebars. I've already got a lot of stuff on these handlebars. Well, I guess I should throw this out there. I gassed it up for the first time a few days ago, and I got 76 point something miles per gallon on that first tank of gas. I think that was fairly accurate, just actually measuring it. I'll check it again a few times. When you're doing this real slow break-in riding, you're going to get your best mileage. Once you get it broken in a little bit, typically you can't make yourself go quite that easy on the throttle, but just knowing it can. That is very slippery looking ice. Could have just ridden over it, but I chose the safe way. And obviously there's been precip and melting, but resulting in lots and lots of ice. Ooh. So I got some decisions to make. Do I really want to do ice like this? And you know what the answer is? I don't. So I'm not going to make it to Toad Lake. I'm guessing there's just going to be more and more of this ice. And honestly, yeah, I got my boot on a little bit right beside me here. It is very, very slippery. I mean, I'd rather ride on snow than on just glare ice like that. I don't have studded tires. I'm not on ice skates. Boy, my boot was just kind of dragged along the ice on the left side. I had no traction whatsoever. No, that's an easy call. I wasn't snowed out, but I was iced out. I've never seen that much ice coming up these roads before, but again, I'm never coming up here in December. We've had an unusually warm December, and there has been precipitation, so although it's unusually warm, it's freezing pretty hard at night, and that precip is turning into ice, and it's not melting very quick. And just looking at that, I could come up later in the day, that still would not be melted. So I don't know what I will choose next for a ride, but it won't be Toad Lake. I think I'm done with Toad Lake. I'm making a track of this, and when I get home and eventually make a video on this, I'll check and see what the elevation was where I iced out. Because that's the first time I've iced out. I've snowed out lots of times, but whoa, ice. Just glare, slippery ice. Is melting just a little bit, so I mean, you got hard ice with just a little film of water on top of it. It's about as slippery as it gets. Oh, I said I was going to talk about the mods on the bike. Let me get to where I'm in sunlight. I'll park it, walk around, and talk about what I've done so far. And I got a few little things I'm still going to do, but not much. Okay, these bags I kept from the klx230s, these Tusk, I forget what they're called, but they really go in nice, and I think they work well, don't get in the way. The little tank bag, I got that for the KLX way back when too. I used it on some of my street bikes for a while, but I'm not now, and I like that. And standing back and looking at it, what I've actually done to it. Only things I've done to it so far are up here in the handlebars. I mean, I've got a little tire pressure monitoring gauge right here. And I got Cycra handguards, and last time on the KLX I started with a Cherby handguards, and I could never ever get those things to fit. And I think I wound up with Zeta handguards. I had to buy some different ones, and the Cherby, I actually got them to work on the Triumph, and I'm leaving them there. But I bought Cycra this time, just tried something different, and those just went on so easy. Such a quick install. Okay, and I have changed the levers to some shorty levers, which are supposed to be adjustable, and we'll see. It looks like you'd have to screw that in to make it come back in a little further, and I don't know if I can. Anyway, they're good. I was going to change the hand grips on both sides, so I got it changed on this side. It's got a little screw that tightens it up. And I was going to put the same hand grip over here, but the little throttle cams I had in it, they had 4 throttle cams, and not a one of them would really work right inside this. So I've kept with the original throttle tube. And obviously I have adjusted that. I did some of that today, and I've got a new lever order. That tip does not fold or bend. So again, you tip it over, there's a good chance you're going to break that lever. And the other thing, skid plate. Maybe when I get home I'll show it, but I bought a Ricochet skid plate. I had one of those on the KLX300. I liked it. And that Ricochet skid plate said it was for a 2025 klx230s ABS. That's what's actually on the invoice. But what they sent me didn't fit, didn't work. The original klx230s had little tabs that came off here and here with bolt holes in them, and that's what it's designed to bolt into. And somewhere, I don't know, I think it was in different parts of the world, they did it different times, but they changed the frame design a little bit. And certainly on this one in 2025, the holes that you can screw in a skid plate on are on the sides. There's one here and there's one on the other side. And what I ordered from Ricochet just flat would not work. Then I contacted them, I did an email, never heard back from them. And so I got a little dumb, and I tried modifying the plate a little bit, see if I could somehow get a clamp to put it on there, and finally gave up. But I sufficiently changed that plate a little bit that I can't send it back, so basically it's trash now. So I have now ordered a skid plate from, I forget, someplace in Asia. I think the name of the company is High Volt. Not here yet, but it definitely has the right tabs to screw in both sides. And they talked about, yeah, there were these frame changes, and make sure you check it out. Ricochet did none of that. They just said, hey, this works on a 25 klx230s, so I'm not real happy with them. Again, I was with the klx300, and boy, they seem to be a major skid plate manufacturer, and the plate they made for this, it was really nicely made and well formed, looked good, but I just couldn't mount it. But I'm really thinking, looking at this, a skid plate, and I am going to change out the gear shift lever. That's the last two things I'm going to do to it. I'm not going to change the tires. I think the tires are good. And so there you have it. Just need to get this thing broken in and ride it. Well, I'm sure one of my reasons on that very first ride that I mostly sat down on the single track and going up the little hard parts and everything was that the bars were just a little bit too low and just didn't really fit me right. With these bars, I'm feeling much better standing up on this bike now. Now, getting the whole rider triangle and geometry and everything right for you is important. Makes you a lot happier with a motorcycle if you can make some modifications that fit your size, build, whatever, a little better. I did not go with the, when I just stopped, I was showing it. I did put the Pro Taper bars on, looking down right now. Maybe the camera will catch it, but I didn't go with a CR tall. I went with a CR mid, not quite as tall. And my reason for trying that was I always felt on the 300 I liked the higher bars, but I thought they might be just a touch too high, so I thought I would try a little higher, but not as high, and so far I'm liking the mid. You know, this could be right where I should have been. And the other thing, I've mentioned this in other videos, I think, but your Pro Taper bars don't have the crossbar across the top. They're fat in the middle, and then they taper off the edges, but they've designed them to absorb vibration. And it's a lot easier on your hands, wrists, arms than those steel bars. So I like that too. You know, I still have not gotten that ABS to engage at all. Now, this is not loose sand or silt or anything, and I'm sure at some point I'll get into some, and maybe then I'll feel it. But, you know, this is gravel, dirt, but it's kind of wet, it's firm, it's got good grip, so. The ABS on this is not very aggressive anyway, and for a bike you're going to ride a lot in the dirt, it might be fine just to use it with the ABS on. The Tiger's ABS is a little bit obnoxious. You get on slick stuff, it just makes it really hard to bring the bike to a stop sometimes because the ABS just won't let you skid the tires at all, and on some stuff a lot of times you need to skid them a little bit to get through that loose top surface and get them down to something a little firmer so you could actually get stopped. In case you're wondering, this bike is a lot of fun on roads like this. Don't ignore the klx230 and the S version of it. They're fun. I know I said on that Sherpa and I didn't buy it, but you know, that Sherpa I'll bet would have been a lot of fun too. And I'm almost back to the main highway now. I say main highway, the FR26. It's a main highway compared to this. Well, I know this is going to sound like heresy, but at the moment, for the way I like to ride, I'm liking this bike better than my klx300. Yeah, I mean, that bike is more aggressive. You can go faster and rougher stuff, but I don't do that. The way I like to ride, this bike is very, very good. And that is the magic of a smaller bike like this. When you go to explore forest routes, you never know when you're going to have to turn around or something. The bike is very maneuverable. It's easy to turn around. And you can do that stuff on the Tiger, but it's just a whole lot harder.